Hello and welcome back to the Spider's Web. Well, I found out what these blighters are. It's like a cross between a beetle and a great ape. Weird. Who thought of some of these creatures? Were they smoking something at the time? That is what I want to know. There are some really weird creatures in this Dungeons and Dragons world. Oh dear. I'm assuming that's why so many people enjoy playing it. Me being one of them. Okay, so we're going to be carrying on as we have done before. Once or twice. We're going to be using, in fact no, we're not going to be using Rhinox hide. I've decided just for a change we're going to be using as the base coat Steel Legion Drab. We're going to go a little bit paler for this fella. So okay, there's the Umber Hulk base coated. What I'm going to do next is, surprisingly enough, I'm going to go over it with a wash when that's dried. I think I may go over it with the Drakenhof Nightshade, is it? Let's have a look once I've found it. There we are, Drakenhof Nightshade. I think I'll go over it with that. It's like a very dark bluey grey. I'm back again. As you can see, I've made a start, so I'm actually painting the bases with some of the figures while I was waiting for this chap to dry. He's dried now, so I'm going to move those out of the way, and then I can get cracking with this man. And as I said, we're going to be using a wash of Drakenhof Nightshade for this. It's going to be going all over. You know what a wash is like, so don't expect any talking through this. And there we go. This is the wash stage for the Umber Hulk, as you can see. So I'll just wait for it to dry now, and then once it's dried we can get on with highlighting. I just wanted to make the pale colour that we put on as the base coat this time just a little bit darker. Give it a bit of a colour cast as well. We'll work then towards it once that's dried. Okay, so let's get cracking. So we're going to use Steel Legion Drab again, and we're going to go over the raised areas of the model. We're not going to be doing any areas where there is shadow or there's any dips. We're doing the bits on the top. This is like a first stage highlight. And again, we're trying to keep out of the dips because we want a little bit of the shadow that we've previously put on show. So this is the first layer of highlighting we're going to be doing for it, and we're going to be using, when we've finished painting it all, we're going to be using the little trick I've shown you previously with the PVA glue of going over it all to give it that nice shiny chitinous look to it. So we're definitely trying to keep away from all the dark edges here. We'll just waft over that there, and the head will do as well. Now apparently these things have got two pairs of eyes, a small pair and a big pair. Those ones at the top of the small pair and those two there are the big pair. I cannot remember what they do exactly, but I know they're for seeing things, but what exactly they're there to, what exact function they have, I don't know. I can't remember. I was half asleep when I was reading it, but I just remember some bits and pieces from it. And touch there, touch there, touch there, and touch there. You can, if you want, I suppose, just do like a dry brush effect on the way down, but I want to try and be as careful as I can with this because I want it to look much better with it being a bigger model. If it was a smaller model, I think I would just do the dry brush, but again, that's entirely up to you as to whether or not you choose that way of doing it or this way. I keep saying, your model, not mine. I'll show you how I paint mine. You make your own decision on how you paint yours. Can't say further than that, can I? You bought it, you can pay for it exactly the way you, or you can paint it exactly the way you want. Not with my daughter. She's working. She's got her own job. I'm out with my daughter in one of the shops and she'll say, should I buy this? So what are you asking me for? I ain't telling you how to spend your money. Yeah, as I said, you got it, it's yours, do what you want with it. And here, there's not much light going to be happening there, so what I'm going to do is I'll put it on, and now I'm going to just use my finger and wipe it off, and I'm sorry for catching the camera there. There we go, and as I say, down this side, well, as I say, not as I say, as you've seen, there is here a amount of, is angled slightly, so you put a little bit more highlighting on this side, but again I don't want a great deal, so I'm just going to put it on and wipe it off. And we'll do this part as well. So remember, this is just the first part of the highlighting. It's not going to be the finished thing. There's going to be light paler colours going on top of this as well. So I'm going a little bit further than I normally would for a highlight. That's because I want brighter shades on top of this, but I still want this to be seen as well. So that is why, if you think I'm going a bit overboard with putting some of it on, that's the reason why, because it needs to be, what's the word I'm looking for? It needs to be done that way so you'll get the different layers of highlighting. And here I'm just got a little on my brush, and I'm just doing the highlight effect, just not dry brush kind of effect here, because I don't want it to be one solid colour. I want it to be broke up a little bit. I'm going to do that down there as well, and on his claws. Also do it here, and a little bit down there, and here, and on his feet. As you can see, I'm using less and less paint on this. I'm putting it on, trying to scrape as much off as I can, give it a wipe on a tissue. But as I say, we don't want a great deal of the paint on subsequent layers. There we go. I'm thinking of painting these mandibles a different colour anyway. Oh, but what the heck, I'll just go over. I can always paint them all exactly the same and then go over again with a different colour, lighter colour. There we are. Right, so wait for that to dry, which won't take long because, as I say, it's only a dry brush, and we'll go with the Steel Legion Drab and mix with, when I find it, Talan Sand. It's only a slightly paler effect, or slightly paler colour, but it might give a slightly different shade to it, rather than using the Ujima flip all the time, the Screaming Skull. And here we have and I'm going to be using that little mould line, which I've only just taken notice of, to go up to for this. And don't forget we need to leave some of the previous colour coming through. So we don't want it going everywhere. I'm going to just change brushes for this because this one's a little bit too thick now for what I want, what I require. So we'll do that and change it to our standard brush. Oops. And again we'll just use this and just waft over the raised areas that is going to be under, or that's going to be hit by the light. The antennae and the mandibles are going to be a different colour, I've decided. So that's that done. And now here, so that bit is towards the light, this bit is shined away from the light, so I'm just going to do a little, very small amount there. And I'm not even going to attempt the other side of there, I'm just going to leave it as is. That line is going to be, that ridge is going to be done. It's just a smaller amounts of the of this particular paler shade being added time and time again. That's it. Also, don't forget leaving a gap. I've not done that side. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter as yet. I can always go back and do that to later. In a bit when I've cleaned my brush, it's just going to be that's just going to be talent that not talent, steel agent job, because that's mainly in shadow, so I don't have to worry about that one as yet. Next we'll do this area. Again, this is the bit that's exposed to more light, so we'll do on this area here. And do these little ridges as well. I may yet go over this with what you call it, Agrex Earthshade when it's finished. In fact, I may do that next, because if I do that now, it will add that certain amount of brown, and then I can put the final highlight on to break everything up. We're just going to be doing each individual little nodule on its back. I don't know what they are. Little bumpy bit. I don't know what they're called. I suppose an entomologist would tell me what they're called, but unless you're an entomologist, please. Unless you're an entomologist who really has to make the point, then please, it doesn't matter. They're just knobbly bits. That'll do. We'll go with the technical term. There we are. And we'll just go over slightly with that. And there as well. And there. Just over his, I'm assuming, toes. But again, we've not got a vast amount of light showing on a lot of this. It's all mainly in shadow because of the way the model's positioned. But where we see some shadow area we can keep clear of it, and where we see what should be a highlighter colour we can add it. There we go, just dry brush onto the face, and just a little bit there, not much. There we are. Now I think, as I say, I'm going to add, I'll go over the top part of this now with Agrax Earthshade, but before I do that I want to just go over that circular bit on his other arm with where have I put it now? Steel Legion Drab. Right, so no wonder I couldn't see it right under my nose. And we just use the big brush again, and we'll just go over it like that. It will be fine like that. It doesn't need any or doesn't need much more doing to it, because, as I said, that side is not going to be as much light as the other. But just to equal out slightly, we'll add a touch of the, a very small touch of the brighter shade there. Okay, so